Carla Olson has just released Have Harmony Will Travel 3, featuring collaborations with the likes of the Hollies' Alan Clark, B.J. Thomas in his final recording session, and Eric Johnson. Here's Carla to give us an overview of her incredible career as a musician and producer, beginning with her move from Austin, Texas to Los Angeles over 40 years ago, along with Kathy Valentine, to form the Textones and then the Go-Go's.
I think that when we got out to LA, everything was going about 2,000 BPM more faster than what we thought.
Right.
And a lot of bands were doing covers, and we started writing our own material when we first got here. And as a matter of fact, Kathy wrote Vacation when she was in the Textones. And
that's right. I read about that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and also We Don't Get Along and Can't Stop the World, which were also Textones in our repertoire.
Right.
And she took those to the Go-Go's when she hopped over and started playing with them. So. But we were not part of the mask thing. We weren't really involved in the punk thing. It was more, we were kind of like a rock band. But
right. Yep.
And two women fronting a rock band was considered to be a bit extreme, I guess. I don't know. we were kind of rowdy.
Yeah, fair enough. That's good on you.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the Stones. Have you heard the new Stones album?
I have. As a matter of fact, we tried to go out and get it on Friday, but we had death in the family, and there was a funeral that day, and my record came out that day too.
Right,
So it's like it was a sad day, but a good day. And the next day we got right out and started looking for it, and nobody had it. So after the fifth place that we went to, we finally found a couple of copies, which was at Barnes and Noble bookstore.
Right.
That was the big box. People had it, and the distributor, somehow or another, it slipped through the hands of the distributors for the one stops in the record stores. They didn't get it. They got the vinyl, but they didn't get the CDs. So we were lucky we got it and popped it in the car and drove around town. And I mean, I listened in the car with my husband. We drive around. We still have an older car with CD player. Yep. Probably why we hold on to the old car, but see, for me, I mean, I like 3 or 4. I like 4 of the songs a lot. I like a couple of them, kinda. I'm not quite there yet with them, but the best song to me on the record, I like the single. It's okay. Angry was good, and the sad ballad, Heaven is good. But for me, the Live by the Sword is the Stones. I mean, it's got Charlie and Bill on it, and sounds like the Stones to me.
That's what you want.
That's what we want, exactly. So we're in there. If you only had one great Stones song on any record that they put out, it would be worth buying for anything else that you're going to buy.
I hear you.
And I'm kind of radical by saying that, but there's not. I mean, it's case closed.
I agree. I mean, God bless him. They're still with us. Freaking Mick is 80 now, and he sounds great on the record.
Oh, I read an interview with the new producer, and he said that Jagger was out there stripping off his clothes and trying to just getting into the song, because that's what you have to do if you're working with a new producer. You got to convince him that you know what you're doing, and he's got some suggestions, and hopefully make what you're doing better. So
right. So now let's segue into your record. Have Harmony Will Travel 3. You cover Street Fightin' Man, of course. So why choose that one out of all the Stones tunes you could have chosen?
My favorite Rolling Stones song ever.
Is it?
Of all. second favorite is Wild Horses, which I'm proud to say that I also recorded that one, the 2019 with my buddy Todd Wolf.
Right.
We did an acoustic version of that, and I guess maybe it always seemed to me, well, I love the recording, the studio version of Street Fighting Man, but I love the live versions that Mick Taylor played on, because to
Right.
me it certainly went from being period to being this power rock and roll, showstopper, which just to me was just great.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, as much as I love Woody, I wish Mick Taylor would still be hanging out with them more often than he does, because he definitely added something to the band when he joined.
Yeah, boy, yeah, second that motion, yeah.
Oh well. And speaking, so if that's your favorite Stones, you follow it with my favorite Who song, I Can See for Miles. So
mine too. That's why I cut that one.
I know you deceive me, now here's a surprise. I know that you have, 'cause there's magic in my eyes. I can see for miles and miles and miles and miles and
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there's some other really, I mean, Kids Are All Right, great too.
Sure, absolutely.
It's great. I mean, there's a lot of songs that the Who just sell it. I mean, it's great. But
All
I
of
gotta say,
Quadrophenia for one thing.
oh, absolutely. And did you see the tour? The
Yeah.
Quadrophenia tour? I did too. I saw it in Dallas, and
Yep.
I mean, a double album. I could still put it on and just the whole thing. I just listen to the whole thing and drive around town. It's just
Yep.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you worked with Gary Myrick on that and a few other things. So tell me about how the tune, what kind of discussions you have, or you just plug in and play it?
Well, Gary, I've known. I mean, we're both from Texas. He's from Dallas, and migrated down to Austin before I left there. So I left Austin in 1970 to go overseas. I went and lived over there for several months with my brother. He was living in Rome and studying acting. And when I came back in late 1970, I ran into Gary in one of the clubs, and he introduced himself, and we started talking. And he was big time into T-Rex. I mean, that was his whole thing then.
Right. Oh yeah.
But through the years, we've kind of stayed friends, and he got out to LA before I did, and had a great career with his sort of an 80s thing, but it was still his Texas kind of almost T-Rexy sounding songs.
Right.
And if you like his style, then you'll like what he's playing on I Can See for Miles. So I mean,
yeah,
he's a screaming guitar player without shredding. He's a screaming guitar player. So it's good.
Yeah. So we've got Graham Nash coming here in New Zealand in a couple of weeks or months, and I see you got Alan Clark on your record, which is pretty cool. I thought Alan was all retired, but how'd you get him to do this thing?
Well, my husband knew the Hollies and had worked with Nash's management, and knew the Hollies back in the early 70s too. And we went over, I guess my husband and I Saul Davis and I went over to visit some people and do some stuff and do some business in London. And we called Alan and said, "You want to meet us? Take the train down and meet us and have some lunch." And it was pouring down rain. He took the train down. He says the train almost didn't make it because the tracks were so flooded. But luckily we got together, and he was, my wife is not well, and I want to take care of her, and I can't sing in those keys anymore. Much like Roger Daltrey can't sing in the keys that Pete writes songs in. And he just basically said, I'm kind of throwing in the sponge, as the Brits would say. And we said, well, I tell you what, if you get half of an idea, throw it our way, and we'll try to see if we can't hustle up some interest. And so I don't know, a couple years later, he sends me some lyrics and said, "You kind of got me going on this." I thought, well, I can write some lyrics. Maybe I can't sing, but I can write some lyrics. And he sent me a couple sets of lyrics, and one set was called "A Love That Never Blooms." And of course, we're unforgivingly procrastinators, right? So I sat around, finally got around to working on the music to it. I had a million things going on, like live bands I was producing stuff. And I started working on that song, and I thought it seemed like a beautiful ballad. And then when I sent it back to him, I think he kind of thought more about it being maybe for me rather than him. So I just went and made a demo of it with actually with Vince Maloney from the Bee Gees. He's a friend of mine's, the original Bee Gees guitar player. And we did a little demo of it and sent it back to him. And he says, well, that sounds pretty good, you know. Yep. He ended up not using that song, but he ended up sending me another lyric, Hearts of Stone, which ended up on his solo album that he finally got around to making, got his grandson to help him figure out GarageBand. And yeah, I know. Well, a lot of us don't know how to do that stuff, but he made a record with my husband Saul's help, getting a record deal with, believe it or not, a deal, if you can say that anymore, with BMG, German label. And they put out the record in 2019. And of course, we all know what happened after that. The next year we got COVID, so everything stopped grinding to a halt. But Alan kept writing and kept working on songs, and he sent me another lyric, which, I mean, I sent him a lyric actually, which I had written in the 80s that I thought was poignant and certainly timely with a lot of people being on the street. And I sent him the lyric, and then about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months later, he sent me back this beautiful song. It Makes Me Cry is what he named it. I had it, it was called something else, but he named it It Makes Me Cry.
The thought of him just trying to get by. I'm looking way down deep, breathing in, and when I'm looking out, then I feel I wanna cry, and then I feel I wanna shout.
And once again, procrastinating due to COVID, but I finally did get the track done. I used his track that he sent me, a beautiful harmonica on it. And I just eventually, it became part of this Have Harmony Will Travel 3.
Right,
and
right.
I sent him my scratch vocal with the band backing me up, which is the band that's on the record here. And he sent his vocals back to me, and he said, now I want you to triple track your vocal. And I said, okay, well, I never really did that. He said, well, that's what Graham and I did.
Right.
And at the time he was working on the album that he ended up with Graham singing on like 9 of the songs, which is his second solo album of Greasy's note. And that's the one that has Buddy's back on it and stuff like that. So, but yeah, Alan is a real sweet, very sweet, generous man. Very sweet.
Yeah. Made some great records.
And, oh my God, I mean, look at all the great songs. Plus, you got the early stuff, which is Bus Stop and Carrie Ann and Stop 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 and all those songs. Look Through Any Window, and then you've got the later stuff, which is also incredible. The Air That I Breathe and Heavy Brother, Long Cool Woman. How many times have you heard that? And wherever you are. So,
and when I heard the harmonica on your version, what she's playing, I realized he must be playing the harmonica on He Ain't Heavy As My Brother. Is that right?
No, he didn't.
He didn't. Okay.
I thought no, but see, the style is very similar, and that's Alan. Alan, I thought so too, but no, but I did when I went to mix it. And everybody kept saying it's too long, and I said no, it's not, and they were going, no, it's too long for radio, and I said I don't care. I'm not going to cut Alan's beautiful harmonica solo in half.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be dead before I do that. So, but anyway, Alan is a wonderful harmonica player. He's also what I would call no one sounds like Alan Clark. When you hear that voice, you don't think, oh, gee, I wonder if that was, no, it's not. It's Alan.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, the other person he got on there is BJ Thomas, which is sadly his last time he was in the studio. I don't know how that all happened.
he might have been in the studio, but nothing came out that I'm aware of, and we're quite, familiar with his repertoire and the people that he had been working with some people and recording some stuff, but that what got him was cancer, and it was advancing very quickly.
Oh boy.
I think that it really took them by surprise, and it's so incredibly sad. But that song, we were doing Saul and I were involved with a charity called water.org. That was Matt Damon's charity at one point. He was trying to provide clean water to third world countries.
Yep.
And they were planning on doing some kind of a online streaming thing at that point, way back then. And so we decided to cut Cool Water and ask BJ if he was going to be in town anyway. He had a gig around, and every time he was in town, he'd call us and we'd go to gigs and stuff. And he said he would love to sing that, but he didn't want it to sound country.
Right.
And he's from Fort Worth. Well, he's actually from Houston. He lived in Fort Worth, but he's from Houston, around Houston, and I'm from Austin. And we have a similar problem, is that we open our mouth and people think we're country.
Right. Yeah.
Never really worked for me. Nashville was never really wanting to hear anything from Carla Olson's camp. So, what are you going to do? But and same with Willie, he had the same problem. So.
Yeah.
But I was just so thrilled when we finally got it done, and he approved the vocal that we did, that way we had, put things together on it, and then. He said, "Why don't you sing the harmony on that?" And I went, "Really?"
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I didn't. I waited, and then he passed away. And then when I decided that it was going to be, I don't want this. People should hear this. It's beautiful.
Yep.
And I asked Willie's harmonica player, Mickey Raphael, who I'd been doing some stuff with for the Americana Railroad album, which I don't know if you were familiar with that at all, that came out last year. It had Rocky Burnett was on it, and John Fogerty, and Mickey played harmonica on both of those tracks. That I met him through Instagram, and we started. He was locked down, I was locked down. We were trying to find some way to keep doing this.
Right.
And so he put harmonica on it, and I sang a harmony on it, and that's how I got into that.
Don't you listen to him, Dan? He's a devil, not a man, and he spreads the burning sand with water. Dan, can't you see that big green tree where the water's running free, and it's waiting there for you and me? Water.
And how'd you choose the tune? I know it from Marty Robbins' version way back.
Marty Robbins. Well, see, my mother, that was her favorite album, was Gunfighter Battle. Not to mention, he wasn't too bad to look at. If you were my mother's age at that point. And I was probably, we still had a hi-fi.
Right.
A hi-fi back then when we listened to the Marty Robbins album. And of course, after the album got scratched and would put it somewhere, that you could still look at the cover. You can still look at the cover, which is great. So, and that whole thing with the, the hat. Anyway. So, but I digress. Sorry. Marty Robbins is where I know the song from. However, most people that are a little generation older than me would say that the Sons of the Pioneer was where they did.
Yep. So I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the last three tracks, which are you and Gene Clark together again, once more, or recorded live back in '87, I think it was. He's everybody's favorite Byrd, so
I'm not gonna let that one slip away. Could you say that one more time?
Yes, he is. I know he's mine. I had my chance to meet him back in like '78 or '79 when McGuinn and Clark just first got together again before they hooked up with Hillman, and I interviewed him, and he was beautiful human being. You could just tell.
He was a beautiful guy. Yeah. He was. Not only that, he was a real kidder. He loved to pull jokes on people, And then sometimes he'd take on another personality. Like he had this character called Reggae Man. Gino would pretend like he was from the Caribbean,
Nice.
and
Wouldn't see that coming.
it's very stupid. But Gene taught me a lot about singing and singing softly, because when you're fronting a band with 2 guitars, bass, and drums, and a sax and keys, you're kind of singing at the balls out kind of level. And he would always tell me when we get together, he'd go, Carla, back off the mic a little, back off that mic and sing like you're singing to the last person in the place, but
Right.
make every word count. That was, he was very serious about that. And he also would say to me, never lose the chance to be poetic.
Right.
Don't just write a line, make
Yeah.
sure that it has some relevance or some clever twist, or even that it's just a beautiful poetry.
Yep. And that was recorded at some festival in Nashville, wasn't it?
It was, they don't have it anymore. It's called the Summer Lights Festival. And that was in 1987. And we were both physically not doing great. I was having some problems, endocrine problems. I came down with type 1 diabetes that year. And out of the blue, not knowing what hit me. And Gene had stomach problems and did not know what was happening there. It was some ulcers and things like that. But we had gone to Nashville and on the invitation of the show Nashville Now,
Right.
which is well, I don't know if it was cable or what it was, but anyway, that we were on there. We did 2 songs with the band, the house band. We did Gypsy Rider, and we did The Drifter from that album, the So Rebellious a Lover album, which had just come out.
Right.
Like the duets album. And it was cute because we were in the dressing room there putting makeup on us, and Rodney Dillard came in, and he and Gene were just, when they get together, it was just nuts,
Yep.
Dillard and Clark, I never saw them, but I did. Yep. I met Rodney, and I thought to myself, I don't know, this might not be a good influence. But, I don't know which would be worse, Gene or Rodney. But the Summer Lights Festival was the next night that we did, and
Right.
It was an outdoor festival with it was a lot of people from Bug Music, which was our publisher at the time. There were Peter Cases there, right. And Rodney Crowell and Marty Stewart was there, and a couple of other big stars that I'm losing my memory here, but Gene and I went on, and they were all in the wings watching us.
Gypsy riders sing your 2-wheel symphony. There's nothing to explain. She should have known by now. You're just a vagabond. You may never pass this way again.
Oh, matter of fact, when I got off the stage, I was talking to Marty, and he said, God, I'm such a Gene Clark fan. And I said, well, we all are. I mean,
there you go.
He was, and Marty doesn't get wowed by many people. I think at this point he's kind of seen and done it all. But
yeah,
that was it. So the guy that was running the sound got in touch with us right before we just mastered this record and did all the artwork, all the print copy and everything. And he said, I've got a bunch of tracks with you guys from the Summer Lights Festival. Would you like to have them? And his name's Rob Bleetstein, and he sent them to us. And there are a couple of more that are with Rhythm Section, but the stage was not mic'd up for that. So the three songs that sounded the best were the ones with just Gene and I playing acoustic guitar and singing.
Nice. Yeah, beautiful stuff. So you also have a parallel career as a producer, which
for a while it was all I was doing, because I didn't have a band, and
right.
After Mick moved back to England, Mick Taylor, that was the band that I was playing with, and part of which was the Textones, and part of which were some other musicians that joined us, and I don't know, lost my steam a little bit, and then got into producing. And I thought, well, I really love playing live. That's really where my heart is.
Uh-huh.
And I really love playing in a band. But if I could make another choice, and I got involved in production with Mare Winningham, the actress Mare Winningham, she wanted to make a record, and nobody would. I mean, she didn't have a lot of people knocking down her door because she's an actress.
Right.
But she's a fabulous writer, player, singer, and Saul got somebody involved and said, "Yeah, well, let's do that. Let's make this record." And so I made a record with her, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the process of recording someone else and giving them what I could help them. You know, being behind the glass and having been someone who recorded for many years. I felt like I could be some help, and it's just I really enjoy it. I enjoy mixing. I don't mix myself, but I'm always there. I'm there for every note that's mixed.
Right. And are you got any production jobs looming? Anything coming up?
I've got, there's the album that just came out. This Rob Waller album came out on Sunday. That I recorded that, produced it, and that's got some incredible songs. And Rob, I don't know if you know his past, Icy Hawks in LA is his band. And he's a baritone, but he also has a beautiful low tenor voice. And so we chose some songs, Saul Davis and I chose some songs that we thought that would showcase that voice rather than the voice he kind of uses in his band with his other players. And we used a couple guys in his band and a couple of guys that I play with. My producer, Michael Reed, played guitar on one of the songs, and I played a lot of guitar, acoustic guitar on it. And I played some 12-string on it too. And we just that just came out. So that's one that's done. And then I've got another record by a guitar player from Austin, Texas, Jake Andrews. He's the one that plays on Street Fighting Man. His father was in a band with Tracy Nelson. Band called Mother Earth. If you
I just talked to Tracy Nelson a couple of weeks ago.
Did you? Well, she was in the band Mother Earth with the 3 albums on Mercury that she did in the 70s. And he also was in a band with Lost Gags.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, they're kind of, but we're buddies from way back. And Jake Andrews was playing with Albert King in festivals in Belgium when he was 7.
Amazing.
I don't usually like things like that, but Jake is the real deal. He's the guy. He and Eric Johnson to me are my favorite guitar players that are still living. Obviously Mick Taylor
aside.
And one of my favorite guitar players that's no longer with us, Peter Green.
Right, yeah.
But Jake is an incredible player, and I produced an album for him in 2002 for Antone's label, and it was vocals and guitar. I don't think there might have been one instrumental, but the rest of it was 3-piece power trio kind of stuff with him. He's not Stevie Ray Vaughan. He doesn't play like Stevie Ray Vaughan. He is a mixture of many people, but he's his own man. He's his own style. And when he was 19 or 20 when I did his first record, and now he's 41.
Gotcha.
So good record. And then I've just did some recording with on a Pete Brown album that's coming out. It was supposed to come out in October, and they've got some little snafus coming out in January. The posthumous Pete Brown, who wrote obviously White River. Exactly. And during COVID, he sent me 8 sets of lyrics, and I wrote 7 songs, one of which they recorded on this album. Clapton's on it, Bonamassa is on it, Clem Clemson's on it, Arthur Brown is on it. And I sang backgrounds on this song called With My Black Cat by My Side. And Pete and I never met, but we forged a real friendship. And he had cancer a couple different times then, but he was locked down at home just like me, and we just found ways to get it done. And that's the last thing. And then I've got a couple other things that I'm working on, but I'm always up for something. Anybody give me a call.
That's what we like to hear. All right, one last thing. What do you think of when you see this? When you see that person on the
I
cover.
see that. I wish that they'd use the next frame and not that one. There's one when we reissued the album, A&M wouldn't let us have the artwork.
Right.
They didn't care about the master. And so they gave us the master and they said, you can't use the cover that you know, for the original album.
Yep.
And I said, okay, I'll use the next slide. So the next slide, if you can find it on generally on Amazon, or it says I'm turned to the side.
Right.
And a little bit more, you know, kind of more Pete Townsend kind of, you know, wielding it up here rather than down here. I love that cover. My late friend Gary Nickerman took that cover on the roof of his house, and there was no filter. That was just exactly the way it looked.
Nice, yeah.
So, yeah, and Phil Seymour was on that. The late
Yeah,
Phil Seymour
yeah.
was on that, and I miss playing with those guys. But I did a Textones reunion album in 2018 with every living Textone on it, including Kathy Valentine.
Yep.
And we had a recording of Phil singing the song, and I was able to I finished his song. The song is called One Half Rock, the Other Half Roll. And I finished the song, but I edited on his singing it at the beginning. And it's hard to find the album because the record company gave me the masters back. I'm going to reissue it.
Cool. Very good. All right.
Well,
thank you for all that. It's fascinating and lovely. The album's great. And, you know, is there going to be a volume 4? Who knows?
well, I do have a couple of things in the hole. Yeah, I've got a couple of things that are not finished, but are projects that I've started doing some duets with some other people. But that shall remain to be seen.
Yes.
You know.
As is most things. All righty. Well, I'll let you go. Thank you very much for talking to me.
Marty, it's my pleasure.
Come on down and visit if you get a chance in New Zealand.
I understand it's the most beautiful country in the world.
It's not bad. Not bad. Yeah.
All right. Take care. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.